This video will aid in the completion of Excel Project 9. We'll go ahead and open up Microsoft Excel. And it tells us that we will be using columns A through H for our spreadsheet. This one reinforces some of our formulas. We will be using multiplication, subtraction, addition. I think those are the only ones. We'll have to make sure we use all of the formatting that we're familiar with as well. We're going to begin in cell A1. We're going to type our main heading. We'll turn our cap lock on. Go ahead and key in the heading, Bakersfield National Bank Payroll. Then on the next line we have our subheading. Be sure to turn your cap lock off. And we'll do for the week ending May 31st, 2001. Be sure you leave a blank row above your column heading, so that takes us to cell A4. And we're going to type in the top row of our column headings. And then in cell A5, start the second row of our column headings. Be sure that the last column you're using is definitely column H. And then row 5 is the last one you have text entered in so far. Be sure that you have everything in the correct cells. Now we'll go ahead and fill in the information underneath each column heading. Be sure you double check those employee names, check for spelling. You can run a spell check, which you should. However, some of those names will not show up in the dictionary, so double check them all anyway. Now we don't know the amounts that go under gross pay or FICA yet. We do know the FWT. Be sure that you put those all in the places they belong. Now before we start our formatting, let's go ahead and do a File and Save As. You'll want to change to your student drive. Go into your computer tech folder, and then we are going to put these in the Excel folder, and this one is to be called Project 9A. Project 9A. Go ahead and click on Save and make sure that name shows in your title bar so that you have it saved correctly. Alright, once everything's keyed in, we can go ahead and do our formatting. We'll start with our main heading. It should be bold, 15 point, and then merged and centered through column H. Then our subheading should be keyed in initial caps, and then it should be merged and centered through column H as well. Then for our column headings, both lines of our column headings should be centered, but then only the bottom line, or row 5, should have underline applied. The employee number column is going to be centered. Then it says to format all of the remaining numbers to currency with 2 decimals. So we are going to highlight hourly rate. Oh, I'm sorry. Hours worked is supposed to be centered as well. Then we'll highlight hourly rate, hold down your control key, and then you can highlight the text under gross pay all the way through net pay. And again, I did that multi-selection by holding down Control. And those we are going to apply currency. So come up to the numbers group and click on your drop down and choose currency, and then make sure it's showing 2 decimal places. Next, it says that we're going to insert a new row. To insert a row, there's a couple of ways we can do it. We want this row to be below Pachman. So we are going to click on the line underneath Pachman. And to insert, we can do a right click out on the number out at the side, and there's an insert option. That gives us a new row. Let me undo that. We can also go up to the cells group, and there is an insert button with a drop down. And we have insert sheet rows, and that will add a row as well. So either way is just fine and appropriate to use. Okay, the data for this is in the instructions. We're given his employee number, his last name, which is Phillips, his hourly rate, hours worked, and he has FWT of $36. Now to do our formulas, for gross pay, it tells us to multiply the hourly rate by the hours worked. So in our gross pay column, right under gross pay, so we're in cell E6, we'll do equals, click on your number under hourly rate, then we use the star, the asterisk, for multiplication symbol, and then we click on hours worked. So we have equals C6 star D6. And then we will go ahead and press Control Enter to get our answer, but stay in the same cell. And I get $127.65. Go ahead and pick up your fill handle there in the corner and drag that down to fill the rest of the column. Now for the FICA, it is to multiply gross pay by 7.25%. So under FICA, we'll do equals, click on your first number under gross pay, which is E6, times, which is the star. Now to do your percent, you can either convert to a decimal and type in 0.0725, or you can actually just type in 7.25 and then include the percent symbol in your formula. Go ahead and grab your fill handle and drag that answer down as well, or that formula down as well. Now for our net pay, it tells us to determine net pay by subtracting FICA and FWT from gross pay. Remember, whatever it tells us to subtract from is what we include first. So it says we're subtracting from gross pay. So we'll do equals gross pay minus FICA minus FWT. So we have equals E6 minus F6 minus G6. Control Enter to display your answer. You should have $98.90. Grab your fill handle, drag down to the remaining. Let's go ahead and do a quick save. Control S to save all of those changes that we've made. And now we're ready to add a totals row. So in cell A13, turn on your bold, turn on your cap lock, key in the word totals, and then the columns we're going to total. It says to determine a total for all of your columns except hourly rate. So we're going to start here in column D in cell D13, and we're going to do an auto sum. Now I could copy and paste this across, but I would not have the correct formatting for my numbers. So I'm going to go under gross pay and do an auto sum again so that I have dollar signs, and then I can grab my fill handle and drag over to the right. Now my 199 underneath hours worked does need to be centered so it matches the formatting above. We do need to add appropriate borders to our totals row, so we're going to highlight from A13 over to H13, and then we are going to go to our font group. Here's our borders, or our bottom border button. We'll click on the drop down and go down to top and double bottom border. And we'll click off of that so we can see it displayed. And you should have a single line on the top and a double line on the bottom. We need to adjust our column widths, so highlight from A over to H. Move your mouse on top of the line between H and I. You'll have a two-headed arrow, double click, and that does an auto adjust on all of our columns at the same time. Next, we need to center horizontally and vertically. To do that, we go to the Page Layout tab, launch the Page Setup group, and then go to the Margins tab, and in the bottom left-hand corner, put a check mark by horizontally and a check mark by vertically. Click on OK. We do need to add a header, so we'll go to Insert, then go to the text group, choose Header and Footer. In the left section of our header, we're going to put our name. In the center, we'll put our class period. And at the right, we want to put the file name. And we're going to use that by coming up to our header and footer design tools. And then here in our header and footer elements, click on File Name. Then you can click out of your header down below and your file name should update itself to show Project 9A. Let's go ahead and do a print preview. So we'll go to File and Print. And then over here at the left, you want to double check, make sure that it's definitely down in the center, both horizontally and vertically, and that your header is showing across the top, and verify all of your other formatting. And if it looks good, you can go ahead and click on Save. Then we're going to convert this to a PDF by going to File, Save and Send, Create PDF XPS Document, and then Create PDF XPS. Go ahead and leave the name the same, and in the same folder, just click on Publish. Once your PDF displays, you can go ahead and close it for now. We also have a second item we need to turn in with this. We need to format our spreadsheet to text, and we do that by holding down the Control key and by pressing the tilde button or the accent button, which is right above your Tab key. And that turns everything to text here. Now we do need to adjust our column widths again because everything got spread out. And we also want to make sure that this is fitting on one page. And to do that, we go to the Page Layout tab. Then we're going to launch the Page Setup group. Be sure you're on the Page tab. And in the scaling section here, we have a Fit To option. We'll click on the radio button next to Fit To and make sure it says 1 page wide by 1 page tall. And then we'll choose OK. Go ahead and go to File and Print to take a look at the print preview. Make sure it's definitely showing in the middle of the screen and that we can see all of our formulas. Then we can go up to Save As. And we're going to change this to 9B. Then we need to convert to a PDF. Go to File, Save and Send, Create PDF XPS, Create PDF, and keep the name the same. Choose Publish. And at this point, you should be ready to submit your assignment to Canvas.